Hello, everybody. Welcome to WD Carousel of Podcast. My name's Crystal.
And I'm Ian.
And today we are going to go over some free game apps that you can use to keep distracted during quarantine. Woo!
Quarantine Disney apps, because that is where we're at.
That's I guess what we're labeling this episode. Essentially, this came from obvious lack of Disney from the
Yes.
people who are able to go or explore or at least live vicariously through other
Yeah.
YouTubers and experience Disney that way, with the parks being
Right.
closed currently indefinitely until otherwise stated. We want to keep that, Disney vibe, Disney experience up and
Keep the magic moving.
Yeah. Keep the happiness going, because Disney for me equals happy.
Yeah.
And I had been on one of the games, because I'm not really much of a gamer, but I was on one of the games on my phone and I saw a Disney app and I saw that it was free, and I was like, well, how many of them are there? And I was able to locate 4. So what we did is we essentially test drove them for you, and that way you can figure out if these are worth your download or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we kind of looks like the way we kind of put this together is, and by we I mean basically Crystal put this together, was had it set up with 2 different kind of categories. So you've got the kind of the more like bejeweled connect the dots kind of, or not connect the dots, but pattern and stuff kind of casual ones, and then the other side is more maybe either a little bit more story, but more RPG style, where there's some sort of kind of more fight battle style going on. There's more substance happening.
All of these are
Yeah.
free, but they obviously do have in-app purchases. So if you decide that you want to give them money, that is your prerogative. We did not. And so what our experiences will be based on is the free play that we were able to do.
Right.
So
which seems like it's kind of in the spirit of the thing. Yeah.
Should we just go into the first game then?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about is Disney Tsumtsum, which is based on the little plushies that you might have started seeing in the parks, or if you're familiar with Japanese culture, they're basically taking animated characters, or really any characters, and turning them into a log. I don't know how else to describe
it. Yeah, basically.
They are a bratwurst tube of a character.
That is both hilarious and a little bit horrifying. Phenomenal.
And I even have, if anybody's seeing the visual on YouTube, I have little mini ones right up on the shelf there of Lock, Shock, and Barrel, as well as Sally and Jack and Zero.
Hilarious.
So let me actually grab one of these. I'm plugged in. Hold on.
I'm gonna look over and pretend like I'm looking at them, but I'm not actually looking at them.
Okay, so here we are. So here is one of the characters, and literally it is just this flat little tube with a face, 4 little stubby legs, and like it's just an oval. It's an oval.
Yeah.
So the game is basically all of the Disney characters as little Tsumtsums.
Yeah.
And you are collecting all of your Tsumtsums.
Yeah. And you have to kind of connect, like, so it's like kind of pattern stuff. So you have to look for someone that are kind of touching, and you draw a line to between them to collect all the ones that are all connecting in that line. Which is interesting because it's a little more organic than other sorts of like kind of bejeweled ones where it's more in a grid.
It makes me feel like it's one of those claw machine ones where just a whole bunch of piles of stuffies that are falling on top of each other.
Yeah. It was kind of both a little bit weird, but also like it was. I don't know. I kind of had mixed feelings about it, but it was very interesting. It had a very unique and responsive feel to it, which was kind of cool. And something interesting about this is every single one of these games was a different developer. It's just like side note,
Well,
interesting
and
thing.
I mean, we talked about that prior, how Disney loves licensing out
Yes.
their characters because
Oh
then they
yes.
get the advertising and people are familiar with the characters without having to put the work into the product.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. It can be a win-win. It also can not be a win-win, but
Mhm.
in the case of these games, it's been interesting. So for Disney Tsumtsum, the publisher is Line, which is actually a pretty well-known. I think they're a South Korean brand. They're kind of like a big tech software company in South Korea, I believe.
So, one thing with this game is you have to connect at least a minimum of 3 of the
Yes.
Tsumtsums to be able to play. You have a limited number of, like, game tries that you get per day, but you can build them and get money to buy special perks and all of that stuff to go along with it.
Yes.
But the thing that stuck with me on this game is the little girl voice that starts up when a game starts,
Yeah.
and it's just so kawaii. It's like,
Yeah.
and just like the highest pitched little like,
How did you even get that? How did you even make that noise? It's
I
crazy.
don't even know. I can't do it.
That's so
But
funny.
yeah, I mean, it's a fun waste of time. This is a game that is pretty much good for all ages. I mean,
Hmm.
kids, it's a matching game, so even the youngest of children should be able to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that one's a good one.
Yeah.
Um,
The next one is Disney Emoji Blitz.
yes.
Yes. I really liked this one actually.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was very simple and it was very much like in the same world of like Bejeweled.
Mhm.
But it
This
it
one, the
just felt
grid's a little
good.
bit more structured, so you're not going
Yeah.
like crazy.
Yeah, which is, it's maybe less interesting, but also it was just weirdly satisfying for some reason. Like just to pull it out casually and play, like I was totally into that. It was cool.
Mhm. Yeah. This one, same thing, you can collect more characters, but one of the nice features about this game is that it actually does lead to emojis you can use in your normal text communication. So your
Yeah.
Facebook Messenger, your text messengers, you're all of a sudden like unlocking extra characters to be able to communicate back and forth. So like
Yep.
I have Ursula unlocked and
Yeah.
I have Sully and a whole bunch of others, and
She was testing them out all week. It was hilarious.
I kept sending them to Ian being like, "Winky, heart
Yeah.
eyes, sad
Yeah.
face."
It was pretty funny.
But that one actually also has more goals and different achievements you can do. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like the next step up from the Tsumtsum game, the Emoji
Yeah.
Blitz.
Yeah.
And the goals and challenges do change per day. So yesterday, like, was the villains spectacular. So I had, like I said, gotten Ursula, and I was working towards King Candy, and that stopped before I was able to get his emoji unlocked. But today is like Beauty and the Beast themed, so there's lots of the rose underneath the glass
Right.
challenges that you can work on, as well as,
Yeah.
other daily things and all that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
So those are the kind of and also this is by Jam City, and I know that they've done a couple of other kind of these style games that I've seen. So they're
mhm,
all of course fairly well known developers, but those are the two bubble popping puzzly kind of games
mhm.
that Crystal found.
Yeah. Again, the
Norm
Emoji Blitz
yeah.
is, I'd say, one good for all ages as well.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly more challenging just because you have to like pre-think
Yeah.
things out a little bit more,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not anything that you need to be too concerned about. That one I did find that I am running out of lives a lot faster than I did on
Oh,
Tsum.
that's frustrating. Okay.
But just to
And I played like yeah,
give a
interesting.
warning.
Hmm. All right.
So let's move into the big guys.
Yeah, the big ones. I had a better word and it's gone. Hi, welcome to quarantine. How you doing? Uh, it's the first one up is Disney Heroes by Per Blue.
Mhm.
Um, this one had a lot of like I was surprised by the amount of like narrative. Like I'm like, oh, there's a lot going on here.
Mhm.
I was surprised by that. You've got and see the I haven't seen Wreck-It Ralph yet, so you all know that that episode's coming. But so those characters start, and then immediately you're introduced to like the Incredibles. Like it's fascinating. Like it was a little strange, but honestly, like in terms of these like kind of weird offshoot kind of Disney style games, like it kind of reminded me almost of like a Game Boy Advance game or a Game Boy Color game. Like
Mhm.
the graphics are better than that, but it had that same kind of energy where you're kind of in a side scroll situation and you've got characters giving dialogue up. I actually kind of, it felt very nostalgic to me. I kind of liked it, honestly.
Yeah, that's the one that I had texted you, about, saying that I was really entertained and getting
Yeah.
sucked into it,
Yeah.
and I was able to get up through, because they have you play in chapters, and you work around the city, and one
Yeah.
section is a chapter, and I was able to get to the last, um, battle of chapter 3, and then I flattened out. I can't beat them. It's like all of a sudden they gave
No.
me too many heavy hitters and I can't figure out a way to level up my team or anything to be
Yeah.
able to get past it.
To
So I
get
got a little
past them.
frustrated with it. But this is
Okay.
one where the fighting style is automatic. So
Yeah.
it is one that the whole crew is all fighting and the only control that you really have is over like special abilities. So once they get to a certain level, then you're able to trigger the special abilities, and that's your
Right.
only
The
task
real
during a fight.
right, right. You just kind of like let them go, and maybe you can't even target in that one, can you? They just kind of all attack, and that's
Yeah,
it.
I mean, you don't have any control other than choosing who your team's going to be and then
Yeah,
when you're going to use the special abilities.
special
And
attacks.
so when I'm going through here, the premise behind it is Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope are going to explore and they think that they are just going to another battle game where they were just going to play around a little bit, and that's where you start to find out all of these characters are being taken over kind of
Over,
like
yeah,
by viruses or whatever.
yeah,
And so you're fighting shadow bad character versions of the
yeah.
good
Of all the
characters.
characters.
Um,
Yeah, yeah,
both villains as well as heroes will fight side by side with each other to be able to win.
yeah.
And so it's an interesting concept. There's ways for you to be able to do a bunch of different stuff. I believe that there's now obviously I'm recording my video on my phone, so I can't really reference it right now,
Look at
so
it. Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
sucks. But they have
yeah,
the battle stories, they have shops, they have, I think they have a battle zone that you can go to eventually, like the port where you can kind of just build your
yeah,
HP and get to know your characters a little bit more. What I thought was interesting is
yeah.
they actually delve even so far into the classes of characters as far as tanks, healers, support,
Really?
that sort of thing too.
Wow.
So you can look at HP points, you can look at all of that if you really want to nerd out to be able to build up your
Yeah,
team.
yeah. It was certainly like I was very impressed by the even just like the storytelling was surprising to me. But yeah, it's definitely one that you can make it as mindless or as in depth as you kind of feel like you want it to be, which is kind of interesting.
Not to be confused with the Disney Arena game, which is our fourth and final game that we're
Yes.
going to be bringing to you. And this one is kind of the same battle concept, although it's also kind of wannabe card game based. So the
Yeah.
characters actually come to you when you're first going into a battle as if like they're cards are laying down and then all of a sudden they pop up out of the cards,
Right.
and
Right.
then it's very much turn based and you get to choose one move and then
Yeah.
next person, next
Next
person,
person choose.
next person, which is the traditional way
Yeah.
that I thought it was going to be on the other
The
game.
other one.
But
Yeah.
they do also have an autoplay after you hit a certain level too, so you can go ahead, just put it on
Oh,
autoplay and it'll just tear through everybody's
hilarious.
turns. You can stop it
That
if you want to
one.
get to a certain character to make sure that,
Yeah.
they're not killing your healer.
Right. Right. Exactly. It was. That one was interesting to me. I'm like, oh, so this is like what Disney Pokemon? Got it. What it felt
Kinda,
like because they come out
kinda.
of the cards and then like they have and then it's all totally turn based. It was very interesting. I was not what I was expecting. I was actually expecting it more on the other one, and then this one ended up being more what I thought that one was going to look like. I don't know. It was interesting.
Yeah, and the Disney Arena one, the card turn-based
Yeah.
one, is also the one that I feel is the most up to date because they even had like advertisements for Onward characters on there, and they were having events
Yeah.
that were up to date and um, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
topical. Unlike
Yeah.
the Heroes one where yeah, there was a lot of characters that we're familiar with, but it doesn't mean that I mean, maybe I just haven't gotten far enough in it. I don't know.
Yeah. But
But
yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
yeah.
I
But
yeah, I
the
definitely it was more I guess more classic characters in that one.
Yeah. The Disney Arenas one, though, is one where there's a lot more involved in it. You can actually go ability wise. You can do this. You can hype that. You can look for these specific attributes and
Right.
increase this, increase that. You can keep your team, at lower levels. There's a lot more options, I feel like, on the Disney Arena one, which also
Yeah.
makes it a little bit more complex for kids to play with. Unlike the
Yes.
Disney Heroes one where you just kinda let it go, and unless the character starts flashing at you that you need to, you know, trigger
Do
the
something.
special
Yeah.
effect.
Right. Right. Literally.
Yeah, so I'd say age-wise, the Disney Arena one is probably for kids and adults that understand a little bit more complex gaming, turn-based gaming, um, again, HPs and special effects and leveling and all of that fun
Yeah.
jazz that goes along with it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So here's the question. What is your preference on let me try to think. Do we want to ask on just like broken down to each section or just like overall?
Like we can do per section.
Okay. So for me, I'm kind of feeling like Emoji Blitz is my favorite out of the bubble section just cuz it jived with me better. I don't know why.
Me too.
Um
Me too.
okay.
And I'd say
Yeah.
the biggest deterrent for me was the voicing in the Tsumtsum one. I know that it's a minor thing,
Yeah, I
but
know.
I can't have that,
Yeah,
screeching
that
at
voice.
me. And then,
Yeah.
the Emoji Blitz gives me more goals to
Yeah.
achieve
Yeah.
than the Tsumtsum
Absolutely.
one.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so for the kind of as we'll say fighting games, um this one's harder for me because there's elements of both of them that I kind of like in this sort of game, but they both don't have all of them.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to think of like which one for me overall has more of it. I think I might go with Heroes only because I like the fact that it's got a little more storyline to it, and that's kind of interesting compared to the mindlessness of the
Mhm.
Emoji Blitz. The only thing I don't like is uh the interface felt clunky to me. And that's only
Mhm.
because I used it for about 20 minutes, but like that was my biggest deterrent for it.
Yeah. I think of the 2 battle ones, Disney Arena is winning for me because I can get the, mindless battle. I can just auto battle and let them do their thing, but I
Fair
have some
enough.
control to be able to stop the auto
Stop.
battle
Right.
and be able to take over instead
Right.
of being forced into,
So
you know,
you're
being
yeah,
stuck in a battle, as well as there's multiple different battle paths you can take and different
sure.
goals to do instead of just having, you have this one world that you have to clear, this one chapter that you have to clear, and then you can go to the next. There's a lot
Right.
more things to do in
Branching.
Disney Arena.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that for me with Disney Arena, I probably if I put a little more time into it, I'd probably get that like you said that the auto battle function gets added. And then I did like the interface for that one better, so maybe if that all happens, it's a little more mindless and it might be kind of fun.
Mhm.
But yeah, I definitely it was definitely an interesting comparison between those two because they were just a little bit different for me.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, they're all free, so it doesn't hurt to try
Hurt
them, see what
right,
works for
right,
you, and hopefully you're able to take the Disney servings that they're giving you, and that will be a little
Help
bit
you a little bit
of,
along. Yeah.
yeah, help you out during this, Disney drought that we're feeling, since we're not going to be
Yeah.
having any new productions coming out or new movies coming out,
Right.
or,
Or
you
access
know,
to the
no
parks.
park
Yeah.
stuff, nothing.
Yep. Nothing.
So, new Disney content in app form.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Well, on
Well,
that
let us
note, I
know.
suppose, huh?
Yeah, let us know what you think. If you've tried any of these guys, or if there's other ones that you'd like to
Yeah.
see us, test out as well. I mean, I'd be more than happy to, while I'm stuck in quarantine, download a game and give it a go.
Yeah.
Do you have a
Absolutely.
favorite? Do you not have a favorite? Do not bring up Magic Kingdoms. I can't do it. I can't. I
That one
can't.
that one was a lot.
But this is. Do you have any more to say?
I do not actually.
Okay.
I
Well,
think
this
I
has
think that's
been
all I got.
WD Carousel of Podcast. My name's Crystal,
And I'm Ian.
and we hope you have a great, big, safe, beautiful tomorrow. Bye, everybody.